we are understanding to become the highest level of a seeker, and in order to become a seeker, we must be very clear about real and unreal. That is the topic we have been covering. So, understand where there is a false, there is a real also. Like we say, you cannot have a wave without water. You cannot have a gold ring without gold. We cannot have a blueness without the sky. We cannot have a real self. We cannot recognize real self without the body. But we take the body as real. I'm tall, I'm smart, I did not have a haircut today. You see, all pertains to the body. All pertains to the body. We are going deeper. You all are seekers now. So, body is unreal. There lies the real self. So, then there is a confusion. So, where lies the confusion? Confusion in the mind. And so, how to remove that confusion? By viveka, by discernment. You cannot physically separate the blueness of a sky from the sky, the wave from the water, the body from the real self. So that is why our master says that we have to apply viveka. Do you? I think you might have gone through it. What we say, viveka, discernment, separating the mixture. So that mixture causes a lot of confusion in our day-to-day life. We mistake body as me and mine and real. So then we should understand how we define real, how we define unreal, and then we live into that higher awareness all the time to separate real from the unreal. And it's not our problem, it's a universal problem. But now, what is the fun? Why should I separate it? We should answer that question. Why should I separate? Because as long as I claim that I am the unreal as real, confusion will remain with me. It limits me. It will cause insecurity. It will cause anxiety. It will cause duality. It will cause tension and depression. And the long list of problems will always be there. Now, see, this confusion is not in animals. Have you seen a lion that says, I did not have a haircut today? We are self conscious. We are extremely self conscious. Huh? No, I did not comb my hair to attend the session. So now I'm okay. We look into the mirror and then we say, now it is okay. Do you see what is the point here? That is how our masters have realized. Every human being is self-conscious being. Even animals have a low level of self-consciousness. But we have a self-judgment. See that? We have a self-judgment. We are a self-conscious being. The sheep is not aware of their hairs. You remove them, they are okay. They never say, I'm naked. You see, we have a self-conscious, we have a self-judgment. From that self-judgment, we want to know who we are. Now it is clear what is the role of viveka. So because of the self-judgment, now I want to know what is the real self. So I have been saying viveka, viveka, viveka. Yes, It is a Sanskrit term which means simply to separate. So I can use a different word. Viveka means cognitive ability and capacity in the intellect to separate what is real and what is unreal. Can I define real? Real has independent existence. Real self does not depend on anything. Real self does not change. Real self is all pervading. Real self is self luminous, means it becomes aware of itself. That is why we use the word self awareness. Can I use the word self awareness for a smartphone? Answer is no. Self awareness is always available with us. That is why we say mindfulness and meditation is effortless and natural. You live into that state, but you don't recognize it. That is the problem. What you recognize? You recognize what is unreal as real. Viveka also, you can use the word discernment, you can use the word perception, you can use the word awareness, you can use the word learning, you can use the word insight, a lot of words. But we have to understand based on how our masters have defined Viveka. So real self is independent existence. Now ask yourself why body is unreal. It does not have an independent existence. Whether you talk from the Eastern wisdom, it is composed of 5 elements, or whether you talk from the science, made up of organic chemicals coming from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, whether you see it as a protein or a fat or minerals or etc. etc. Now, see, this body depends on these factors. Hence, it is unreal. That is how we understand. Because I have to explore and find out what is my real self. Are you clear? Now we are going a little deeper and deeper. The actual tradition now starts from today. We have been working here and there. Do you see? I have to remove that confusion between why there is a confusion, because the real and the unreal are mixed up, and when they are mixed up, it limits me, it gives me a sense of insecurity. I am the body. What comes with the body? Birth and death, growth, health, sickness, and they all have a dependent existence. Anything that depends on anything, it does not have an independent existence, then it is unreal. So we constantly separate in my mind, in the field of awareness. I'm constantly aware that real self is real, and when I claim that the body is me, is not actually me. The wave is not, water is, gold ring is not, gold is, blueness is not, sky is, body is not, real self is. So when we live into that awareness, here comes the self-judgment. We have separated. So when we have separated, where? In the mind, in the knowledge, then what happens? That sense of insecurity drops, that sense of fear drops, that sense of repetition for seeking the pleasure drops from your mind. That is one of the best way to drop the habit impulsive, and instinctive behavior and attitude. That gives you a sense of at ease and calm. Ease and calm. Do you remember we discussed about self-inquiry with discernment? One is a normal inquiry. I have to find out how electricity works. Create a protocol, do an experiment, and find it out. But when we talk of the self-inquiry, we have to do the self-inquiry with discernment. Without discernment, we cannot remove the confusion. And if we do not remove that confusion, you practice meditation for 10, 20, 40, 50 years, nothing is going to happen. That is 100% clear. So through the discernment, what happens? Body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, thoughts, fear, they are not self. What is left ultimately is the real self. Real self. When we have a confusion, it leads to delusion. So that delusion we say maya, impurity of the mind, lack of focus, and that invites the mind to be instinctive, impulsive, habitual. When the moment you separate, the mind leaves us, that is instinctive, that lives with a low level of self-awareness. Lower self-awareness, animals. Higher self-awareness, humans. Highest self-awareness, realization. Now see, anything that any object, any person, anything in the world outside, they are constantly changing. Changing means they have a dependent existence. They depend on something. That is why I told you that I may have a billions of dollars, but am I 100% secure? Am I 100% fearless? Now you see, understand, apply that real and the unreal in our daily life. So does that mean that I stop earning? No. I should earn money, but I should not give added value to the things outside where it is not present. Almost every week I have quite an interesting uh, events with my with all our seekers. From my point of view, all are seekers. So think of it. If I give a stamp of security to a dollar bill, which is not there, it is a confusion. There comes the viveka. Viveka separates. Let me use the dollar where it has a value. I should work in good relationship where it is a value. But if I think that the relationship will give me a complete security, fearlessness, total happiness, I'm confused. Confusion leads to delusion. Delusion leads to anxiety and host of lot of problems. Huh? So think of it. Think of it. You have to constantly think of it. Think of it. The moment you do not think of it, then you have a problem. That is why we are studying and understanding Viveka is one of the most important principle in Eastern wisdom. I'm doing meditation for what? Relaxation. I get 5 minutes, 10 minutes of relaxation. And after a few hours, that relaxation is gone. Why it is gone? Because the confusion is still lying. If the confusion is not there, then this meditative state will remain present 24/7. So my master used to ask indirectly in a question. So I converted that into a question. I think you already know how long it takes you to reach to a particular place from your home, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 50 minutes, etc. And how long it takes you to reach to yourself. There is no distance between the real self and you. Why? Because you are real self. You are self existent, you are self evident, you are self luminous, which is unchanging. So, when there is no distance between me and the real self, I am the real self. Why don't I know? Because of the confusion. What we need to do, viveka. See that. I have to separate what I am not. Then what will be left? Real self, pure consciousness. So that is what is realized in meditation. That is what is realized in meditation. Now, based on this, during the last couple of weeks, we have been learning how to become a seeker. We all are seekers, but still we are learning. So here the master clearly says, Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma Tadavati Riktam Sarvam Anityam. Now, what simple. So don't take it as a big statement, but you have to use that for realization. He says the real self alone is real, the rest are unreal. And when we apply the viveka, we find the truth behind it. The pure consciousness that real self alone is true, everything else is false. False means, pay attention, false means that appears true but is not true. Appears true. Every time you see the sky, the blueness is always there. It appears true, but it is not true, because that blueness depends on the real sky. Real self is true. What appears, the 6 feet beard, physical structure, is unreal. It appears true, but it is not. Don't take your mind to a negative questioning. It means, should I die? Should I leave the body? Why you should leave the body? What is the goal? The goal is to find the real self. So why body is unreal? Body appears conscious. I'm moving my hand, I'm speaking, I'm addressing to you. The body borrowed the consciousness from the real self. It does not have an independent existence. So we should give body the value, neither more nor less. If I am the body, I am subjected to birth and death, I am subjected to health and sickness, and then I feel I'm limited. I have a dependent existence, and that causes the problem in our day-to-day life. So I give the body the value it is present. I should not give more value. That is the power of discernment in our day-to-day life. Sugar asks, I want to be sweet all the time. You are already sweet all the time, Sugar. Why you want that? Think of this. Okay, So if you ask the sugar where you want to be sweet, all places, in everything, at home, at office, on the highway, while driving. Under what condition? In all the condition. Sugar remains sweet in all conditions. That is the nature of the real self. That real self is always pure consciousness, permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Where? Everywhere, all places, in all conditions. When we realize that in day to day life, 24 by 7, we have achieved the highest state of meditation. And that process, that state is known as awakening. My Guruji used to put another logic. If happiness is not my nature, then how I can live in permanent happiness at all time, in all places, with everyone? So it proves that real self is full of permanent peace, love, truth, and wisdom. And I have to discover that. I have to remove that confusion. The very nature of the real self is this. So what Viveka does in my life? The moment I'm surrounded by anxiety, negativity, duality, conflict, and ego, I should remind in my mind, this is not my nature. My nature is the real self. Sugar, ask when you want to be sweet all the time, in all the conditions. That very awareness will help you to separate what is real and what is unreal. How do you say that real self is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness? I have just, last session I think I talked about it. Do you love peace? Answer is yes, peace is your nature. Do you love stress? No, it is not your nature. Do you love happiness? Yes, I love happiness because happiness is my nature. That's why I love it. Do you see that? See another reason. In deep sleep, after the deep sleep, when you wake up, you experience peace and happiness, that I had a sound sleep. How? Mind is not there. The mind has a lot of confusion. The moment we wake up, it returns to its old habit, it returns to its confusion, it returns to its delusion. So, can we live into the state of deep sleep of the world outside and still I'm conscious? That is what the meditation is. I'm conscious, I'm aware. Body is not there, mind is not there. It does not mean it is not there. It means I have that clinging to the body. I have that confusion that I am the body. I have that confusion that I am the mind. They both are not there. Hence, I realize my true nature. Another point, and then we will start on that. That is how we study in a traditional discipline. So the Guruji picks up a text and then they say what is written. Then we have a question and answer for contemplation. So contemplation gives you the clarity when you start thinking on your own. Reflection removes the doubt. So when you have no doubt, there is a total clarity. That intellect motivates you. It is a self motivation, it is a self inspiration. Let me find out my real nature. That is the goal of life. Goal of life is common to every human being. Goals in life are different. You may get You have a project to earn billions of dollars, everything is okay. You don't change anything outside. Your perception has changed. You are earning, but you are not giving a value to the wealth. What value? Oh, I will be secure if I get this. You see, though the insurance provider sells you the programs and certificate, you will be totally free. Everything is okay. So now another point that you see, that real self cannot be produced but discovered. That is why we say meditation is a journey of the self discovery. I cannot produce anything by action. If I can produce the happiness, then it will depend on action. And if it depends on action, the action depends on many factors. So it is not independent. So that is why we say meditation is effortless, natural, beyond mind. You cannot produce the permanent happiness like we produce crops, like we produce anything in the world. So we use the word discovery. It is already there in me. It is already present behind the mind. It is already present within the body. I need to discover. And that discovery has to follow the self-inquiry. The self-inquiry has to follow with discernment. Think of this. So we are going deeper every time, and once you pick up, it is good to remember the previous sessions. Remember the 4 connections, remember the 9 primary practices, and then we come to the secondary practices. So pay attention to these 9 primary steps or the practices. So first practice is viveka. I'll make it clear in the next session also. So let us start our practice of meditation now. With that, viveka, my